Here's a truth that most good people never realize until it's too late. Power isn't just about politics, money, or influence. It's about economics. The economics of your time, energy, and resources. Every yes you give is a transaction. Every favor, every late night, every time you carry someone else's burden, you are spending something. And here's the mistake. Good people act like they have infinite supply, but you don't. Your time is finite. Your energy is limited. Your resources are scarce. And the people who exploit your goodness, they know this. They're not just taking your kindness, they're draining your capital. Think about it like a bank account. If you keep handing out money to everyone who asks, without ever investing or replenishing, what happens? You go bankrupt. And once you're bankrupt, you're not just useless to yourself, you're useless to everyone else too. This is why flight attendants tell you, put on your own oxygen mask first. Why? Because if you're passed out from lack of oxygen, you can't save anyone. Your goodness is worthless if you collapse under the weight of it. Now, let's make this real. At work, you're the one always staying late, covering for everyone else. For a while, you look helpful, but eventually, your own career stalls. Why? Because while you're giving away your energy to keep others afloat, they're climbing ahead. You're left behind. In relationships, you keep saying yes, keep compromising, keep giving. And instead of gratitude, you get entitlement. They don't respect your sacrifice, they expect it. Until one day, you're empty and bitter. In life, you pour into everyone else's bucket while yours is bone dry. And when you finally need someone to pour back into you, silence. This is the cold math of power. Every yes to someone else is a no to yourself. And if you say no to yourself long enough, eventually you lose everything. But here's the twist. The strong, strategic people understand that protecting their energy is not selfish. It's necessary. They know that guarding their time, their focus, and their resources is what allows them to play the long game. Because here's what most people forget. The world doesn't reward exhaustion. It rewards results. You don't get remembered for how many times you said yes. You get remembered for what you built, what you achieved, what you left behind. Machiavelli put it simply. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. And you cannot command others if you cannot first command yourself. So here's the shift. From today, you must start thinking like an economist. Before you give your time, ask, what's the return on this investment? Before you say yes, ask, does this align with my goals, or am I just avoiding guilt? Before you help, ask, will this strengthen me or drain me? Because power isn't free. It's earned, protected, and multiplied. And if you keep giving away your energy blindly, you'll never have enough left to rise. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I protect my energy, I guard my power. In the next part, we'll move from guarding your resources to strategically using them. How to turn your virtues into weapons, not weaknesses. Up until now, we've been talking about why being too good can destroy you. But let's be clear, virtue itself isn't the enemy. The problem isn't being good. It's using goodness without strategy. Here's the truth. Your virtues, kindness, honesty, generosity, loyalty, can be some of your greatest weapons. But only if you learn when, where, and how to use them. Think of your virtues like tools in a toolbox. A hammer is powerful, but only in the right situation. Try to use a hammer for everything, and you'll destroy more than you build. Kindness works the same way. Loyalty works the same way. Now let's look at how to use them strategically. Kindness as leverage. When you're kind to everyone all the time, it means nothing. But when you're kind in a moment when it matters, when someone least expects it, that kindness becomes unforgettable. It buys loyalty, trust, and influence. Honesty as a weapon. Most people lie, exaggerate, or spin. If you're the one who speaks with sharp, precise honesty, but only when it counts, you instantly stand out. Your words carry weight. People know when you speak, it matters. Generosity is strategy. Give small, calculated gifts, favors, or support at key moments. This doesn't create entitlement, it creates indebtedness. People remember the person who helped them when no one else would. Loyalty as power. Blind loyalty makes you a servant. But strategic loyalty, to the right people at the right time, makes you indispensable. Kings rise and fall, but those who align themselves wisely stay protected. History proves this. Julius Caesar wasn't kind to everyone. He was kind to the right people at the right time. Nelson Mandela wasn't endlessly forgiving. He forgave strategically to unite a nation and consolidate power. Even modern leaders, CEOs, politicians, influencers, don't show all their virtues at once. They reveal them selectively, like cards in a poker game. And that's the lesson here. Virtue, when constant, is weakness. Virtue, when rare and precise, is power. So the next time you feel the urge to be endlessly nice, ask yourself, is this kindness going to build power or drain it? The next time you're loyal, ask, am I serving my future or just being afraid to walk away? Here's your affirmation to lock this in. My virtue is not a weakness, it's a weapon. Because when you start using your goodness strategically, you stop being overlooked. You stop being drained. And instead, you become someone who commands respect, influence, and authority. In the next part, we'll explore something darker but crucial, the psychology of fear, why fear lasts longer than love, and how the balance between the two determines real power. Here's a truth that most people are too afraid to admit. Fear lasts longer than love. Love is beautiful, but it's fragile. People love you today, and tomorrow they can turn on you. Love depends on emotions that change like the weather. But fear? Fear lingers. Fear is steady. Fear makes people think twice before crossing you. Now, don't get me wrong. This doesn't mean you should live your life terrifying everyone around you. That's not sustainable, and it can backfire. But Machiavelli himself asked the timeless question, is it better to be loved or feared? His answer? If you can't be both, it's safer to be feared. Why? Because respect built only on love crumbles the moment people stop feeling it. But respect reinforced by fear creates boundaries that stick. People may not always adore you, but they'll hesitate before they betray you. Let's make this practical. At work, a boss who is only loved may be liked, but people slack off. A boss who is only feared may get obedience, but secretly hated. The best leaders strike the balance, approachable enough to inspire, firm enough to command. In relationships, if you're endlessly forgiving, people take advantage. But when you enforce consequences, when you show you're not afraid to walk away, suddenly, you're respected. In life, people respect those who show strength, not just softness. If you can smile warmly but also set hard limits, you become unshakable. Here's the psychology behind it. Humans are wired to avoid pain. Fear of consequences is stronger than desire for reward. Think about it. You're more likely to pay your bills on time to avoid late fees than because you love the company. Pain motivates. Fear controls. Great leaders throughout history knew this balance. Alexander the Great inspired love through charisma, but his military discipline made soldiers fear letting him down. Steve Jobs inspired passion, but was feared enough that his team pushed themselves to impossible heights. Even in families, the parent who is only loved gets disrespected. The parent who balances love with discipline earns lasting respect. So here's the key. You don't want to be a monster, but you can't be a pushover either. The most powerful people wear two faces, one of warmth, one of steel. Love attracts followers. Fear protects you from betrayal. Your challenge today: ask yourself honestly, have I leaned too far into wanting to be loved while ignoring the power of being feared? And here's your affirmation. I balance love with fear. I inspire respect that lasts. Because at the end of the day, it's not about choosing one or the other, it's about balance. Love without fear is weakness. Fear without love is tyranny. But together, that's unshakable power. In the next part, we'll build on this even further. The game of perception, why people's beliefs about you matter more than the truth, and how to control that narrative. Here's something most people never understand. It doesn't matter who you truly are. What matters is who people think you are. The truth is silent. Perception is loud. And in the game of power, perception always wins. Think about this. How many people in history weren't actually the best, the strongest, or the smartest, but they looked the part? They projected confidence. They built an image. And the world believed them. Because people don't follow reality, they follow perception. Take politicians. Many of them aren't geniuses, but they look decisive, They sound confident, and they know how to sell an image. Or take CEOs, some aren't technical experts, but they look like visionaries. They control how others perceive them, and that's what gives them influence. Here's the psychological trap. People assume what they see is the truth. If you look strong, they believe you are strong. If you look weak, they assume you are weak, even if the opposite is true. Now let's make this practical for your life. At work, if you always look tired, drained, or unsure, no one will promote you. Even if you're capable, perception says otherwise. But if you project calm confidence, even when you're figuring things out, people trust you with more power. In relationships, if you act like you'll tolerate anything, people believe it. If you carry yourself with standards, people treat you differently. You teach others how to see you. In everyday life, dress sharp, speak less, but with weight, move with purpose. The smallest details, eye contact, tone, posture, create powerful perceptions. Here's a chilling truth. Even if you lose a battle, if you can control perception, you can still win the war. Leaders throughout history have lost money, lost wars, lost allies. But by projecting strength, they made people believe they were still in control. And that belief gave them time to recover and rise again. But perception isn't just about looking strong. It's also about controlling what others don't know. Mystery is powerful. The less people know about your next move, the more they fear and respect you. Oversharing is weakness. Strategic silence is strength. So ask yourself, what image am I projecting right now? Am I shaping how others see me? Or am I leaving it to chance? Your affirmation today: I control how I am perceived. My image is my power. Because here's the law: reality is negotiable, but perception is everything. Control the story about you, and you control the game. And in the final part, we'll put everything together. The ultimate transformation. How to rise from being overlooked and overused to becoming respected, feared, and truly free. We've gone through every hidden law, every uncomfortable truth. And now, it's time to put it all together. Because at the core, this isn't just about power. It's about transformation. Your transformation. Think about where you started. Maybe you've been the person who gave too much, said yes too often, tolerated too much disrespect. Maybe you were overlooked, underestimated, used. That's the story of almost everyone who tries to be good in a world that rewards strength. But here's the truth: you don't have to stay that way. The laws we've walked through, approval versus respect, boundaries and consequences, psychological control, the addiction to validation, Machiavellian rules, strategic use of virtue, perception, fear, they all point to one thing. You have the power to rewrite how the world treats you. This transformation isn't about becoming cruel. It's not about destroying your goodness. It's about reshaping it. You keep your kindness, but you sharpen it. You keep your loyalty, but you protect it. You keep your generosity, but you make it strategic. You stop being a people pleaser, and you start being a power player. Because when you stop chasing approval, you start commanding respect. When you stop giving endlessly, you start creating value. When you stop revealing everything, you start creating mystery. And when you balance love with fear, you become unshakable. This is the path from overlooked to respected, from weak to strong, from controlled to free. And here's the final truth: power isn't taken from you, it's given away. Every time you say yes without thinking, every time you let someone cross a boundary, every time you trade respect for approval. But starting today, you stop giving it away. You reclaim it, piece by piece, law by law, until you stand unshakable. Your final affirmation: I no longer chase approval. I command respect. I am transforming into power. Now, I'll leave you with this. The world isn't fair, but it doesn't have to crush you. Because now, you know the rules. And once you know the rules, you can play the game better than anyone else. So the question is, are you going to keep living as the person people walk over? Or are you ready to step into the version of yourself that nobody dares underestimate? Because this is only the beginning.